Brett Huber, would you kindly consider what's next? Sir. We're also gifted by the time and expertise and this guy's heart. Brett Huber is with ballot measure 2. Ballot measure 2 is on the back of this. And he's going to tell you how many more paragraphs are not listed on here for you to read.
He's not with 2, he's against 2.
Yeah. So we'll define that. Thank you, Robert.
So I've only got about an hour and a half planned for you tonight. So what a great opportunity to hear from Senator Sullivan, Congressman Young, candidates, etc. I'm here to talk to you about a ballot measure. And it has some commonalities with what you heard from Senator Sullivan and what you heard from Congressman Young. There's $1 zillion being poured in. There's $1 zillion being poured in from billionaires outside of Alaska to try to change the way we conduct elections in Alaska. It's not $1 zillion, but it's $5.8 million. They've raised $18,000 in Alaska. 99.87% of their money comes from outside, and they want to change our elections, and we just want to say no. I love speaking to a group like this because when I see folks that are, I'm sorry, better?
Closer.
Thanks. When I see folks that have had some life experience, that have had some sacrifice, that understand how important our basic constitutional rights, like the right to free speech, political speech, the right to association, and how important it is for one person, one vote, and winners to win, y'all sacrifice enough. You've all been through enough life to know that those things matter. So it's wonderful to come to a group like this. They might have $5.8 million, but the $100 check by Cruz that I got from your group in the Valley means more to me than their $5.8 million. Because what they don't have is great Alaskans like the people in this room. Right? They call themselves Alaskans for better elections. They're not. They changed their name to vote yes on ballot measure 2. They don't have any Alaskans. They have some Alaskans being paid, and they've got money coming from outside. So what do they want to do with this money, and why do they want to do it here? Here's what they'd like to do. They would like to, first off, do away with the way the party systems works in this state and with primary elections. So they have said if you have chosen to affiliate with a Republican Party, a Democratic Party, or any other party, you are somehow a demon. You're less of an Alaskan than those people that chose not to affiliate. Right? They talk about 62% of Alaskan voters being nonpartisan or undeclared. So I think we all know that most Alaskan voters identify with kind of one side or the other, reach across depending on the individual. But Alaskans have strong opinions, and we respect the strong opinions of our neighbors. That 62% sounds great. Most of the undeclareds are undeclareds because they've chosen not to participate in the process, not to affiliate. They're automatically registered because they wanted a permanent fund. They don't go vote. You people in this room, you vote, right? Because you know what it means. It is your chance, every individual's chance to reach out and actually touch the government that works for us. Not the other way around, right? You get to pick who is somebody that I align with? Who is somebody that's going to champion my issues? Who's somebody that I think is going to make reasoned decisions and do a good job representing me? You pick that person, you support them, you give them money, you help on campaigns, you get to an election, now everybody goes and casts a vote. Mike, your vote's worth just as much as my vote, which is worth just as much as Linda's vote, or Congressman Young's vote, or Dan Sullivan's vote, just like it ought to be. We're all Alaskans, we're all Americans. Not one better than the other. We have diverse viewpoints, we have diverse political discussions. Those are healthy. So what they would like to do is do away with primaries. It's a thing called a jungle primary. 2 states do it now, California and Washington State. Not working great in either of those states, in my opinion. In 17 congressional districts right now in California, the choice in the race is Democrat 1 or Democrat 2. That's it. Because they come through this primary where you don't even have a party affiliation, unless you ask them to put your party affiliation. So they make everybody nondescript. And then 4 people go to what they call a ranked choice general election. So hey, I don't think if you're a Republican, a Democrat, anything else, that doesn't make you better or worse than somebody else. It means you have a different perspective, but we're all Alaskans. So now we take 4 people, we put them in a race. And then we say to win, you have to get 50% of the vote. It's a 4-way race. You guys know math. 50% of the vote in one round doesn't happen a whole lot in a 4-way race. So they put a four-way race together and they say, this is a great way to do elections. It's like San Francisco does them. You should rank your candidates. Pick who you'd like to win, but if your winner doesn't win, pick who you'd like to be in second place. And if they don't win, who would you like your third choice to be? If you're convicted and you've picked a candidate and they've aligned on your issue, that's the person you want to support. You don't want to vote for three people that you don't agree with. You don't want to vote for three people that don't care about the issue you care most about. You're going to pick your candidate. And then whoever gets the most votes wins. In the Olympics, we do not give the gold medal to the athlete in third place. Why in the world would we do that when we're picking the leaders of our state and our nation? Right? I think it's just absurd. So say, Mike, you're running for office, and I agree with you, and I want to support you, and I'm one of 42% after round one that supports you in a four-way race. You're still not the winner. You just stand by, and I'll stand by because you're the only one I voted for. And now everybody that picked one of the losers of that race, the person in fourth place, their votes get reassigned within this pool for their second place vote. Now my vote doesn't get reassigned because I picked the winner of the first race and he's the guy who won it. But after that second round, now Mike's still at 42%, maybe 44%, and the other votes start going to the other candidates. At the end of the cycle, before we get to 50%, it may well be the person in third place that gets enough of these other votes to go 30%. You won, I voted for you. You got to run once, I got to vote once, and you didn't win. That's what they're proposing. I mean, that's honestly what they're proposing. It seems absurd. You're going to see a 3-paragraph message on the ballot. It's a 25-page long, 74-section ballot initiative. You all should have just received your official election pamphlets. It starts on page 139. It is 25 pages of legal mumbo-jumbo. They talk to you about a couple of the things that are in there, and they want you to really worry about dark money. So you just heard Congressman Young, you just heard Senator Sullivan talk about all the dollars that are pouring into their races from these nondescript groups. That'll continue even if this ballot measure passes because those are federal elections. This ballot measure does nothing for them. Yet they're telling Alaskans that all dark money is going to go away if you just vote yes. Worse yet, it doesn't even apply to them. Ballot measures are excluded from the reporting requirements. So the same bunch of billionaires from outside can come back in 2 years after they've now bought your vote with $5.8 million and come buy something else. What's the next piece of Alaska that they're going to try to take away from you with their money? Not okay, right? So beyond not okay, pretty disingenuous. So they're trying to scare you with dark money because they all know we want transparency in elections. Everybody does. Their bill doesn't provide it. It's their sales goal. It's their 19-cent loaf of bread to get you in the door, so they load your shopping cart with this garbage called ranked choice voting and called the jumbo primary. Don't buy it. Please take the time and read the issue. So I'm just going to close by saying there's really nothing more important to me and a lot of people in this room, I believe, than our basic constitutional rights, the things that founded our country. Our right to free speech, free political speech, our right to association, to determine whether I want to be a member of AMAC, a member of the Republican Party, a member of the Democratic Party. It doesn't matter. I get that right. And then we all have one opportunity to reach out and touch our government. The same people that are trying to unseat Senator Sullivan and unseat Don Young are the same people pouring money into this campaign that want to change the whole system so winners don't win and losers get the gold medal. Please, please get out and vote no on ballot measure 2. They've got more money than we do, but we've got more support than they do. Something they can't buy is you all that cared enough to be here tonight and hear this thing, talking to your friends, talking to your neighbors, talking in your church, talking among your friend groups, wherever you can. They can't buy Alaskan word of mouth. I believe Alaskans know how to pick their leaders. We know who the leaders are. We just had them in our gym here tonight, right? We know how to vote. We don't need billionaires telling us how. We don't need slick operators lying to us. They're going to use every dirty campaign trick in the book. They're going to spend $2 million in the next 3 weeks. It's going to be a blizzard of dark money, should scare you. But they're never going to tell you what they're really trying to accomplish. And what they want to do is disenfranchise people from government, because then all that's left is money and power. They're not trying it in their state. They're not doing it in California, in Texas, in New York, in Colorado. You know why? It's too expensive. One of the people that's in charge of this national movement said on a Commonwealth phone call, Alaska is an important swing state to us because you're a cheap date. You don't cost a lot of money for us to participate in this election, and then we can hold you up as an example to other places. I don't want to be their guinea pigs. I don't want Alaskans to be their guinea pigs. I think we've got something that works. It's not broken, doesn't need to be fixed. Don't be fooled, and please tell your friends and neighbors to vote no on ballot measure 2. I'm happy to answer.
We have a quick question. Are there any other states that do this system?
So there aren't. There's not a single state in the nation that has this system that they're proposing for us now. I said there's 2 states that do jungle primaries. There's 1 state that does ranked choice voting. It's Maine.
Yeah.
They got it passed there 4 years ago. It's been 4 years of litigation. They unseated a Republican congressman that actually had more votes and replaced him with a Democrat. Susan Collins is in the race for her life. They say that it'll make friendlier elections. People will come together if we just do this. We'll ride a unicorn in the room and solve every problem. It just doesn't work that way. It hasn't in any place that it's been proposed. It's been a mess in Maine. They're the only state that has ranked choice voting. It's been repealed all across the country in places where they've tried it and they found it didn't work. Let's not be guinea pigs.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Robert?
Would you see our charger on the way out? She's in the back.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
One question?
Mike has a question. You know Mike.
Okay, really fast.
Yeah,
Really quick in your question.
Right, and that is, if I decide I'm only going to pick you on that ballot, my understanding is it gets tossed because I didn't do all 4.
So no, here's how it works, Mike. So the ballot doesn't get costed. What the other side's saying, well, is everybody votes once, everybody's vote counts. This doesn't change anything. Well, sure it does. Everybody's vote counts once now, and the winner wins. So what would happen is if I pick the person in last place, then my second place vote gets to count again. But if I pick the person in first place, then I don't get to. Now, if I pick the person in last place and I didn't rank all the other candidates for the same reason, I'm not going to support somebody that doesn't agree with me, then my vote gets tossed out. They call it exhausted ballots. You can expect 3 out of 10 Alaskan votes to not count toward the results of the election if this is passed. That's what they had in San Francisco. That's what you can expect here. Not okay with me, and I hope not okay with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. There are yard signs on the way out. If you ever wonder why there were no yard signs, except for no on 1, well, here they are. No on 2. Great meeting place for them. There it is. Thank you, Jim Kaufman, for holding that up, and thank you, Jim Kaufman, for attending here tonight. I know you're also endeavoring in your social life to have a family as well as make Alaska great again. Thank you. Now, a comment from me here. The ballot measure that you see on there is 3 paragraphs long. The original paragraph amount is, I think, 28 paragraphs, 25 paragraphs. They do not appear on your ballot. The liberal judges in Alaska allowed that display of limited information on the ballot. And that would speak for the judges that are not conservative in our state. So there will be a topic up here very shortly about the judges who are on that ballot.